Tota pulcra es Maria, tota pulcra es Maria, et macula originalis non est in te. Et macula originalis.
So this is where I'm going to start, and let's see how I can do this. Okay, here you have the Sister Lucia from the late 1930s, the Lucy number 1 there. And here you have Lucy number 2 from, I don't know when exactly that picture was taken. But there are a lot of differences in those two people, or those two images. We'll go through them with a little more detail. But Sister Lucia's lower lip being heavy and drooping was already noted in the description of Fatima written at the time by, I forgot, but the early description of the Fatima visions. Her lips are thick. Her lower lip is particularly thick and kind of drooping. She's got very heavy eyebrows, which are actually quite near to her eyes, and they come very close in the middle. Lucy 2 has thin lips, which is pretty inexplicable. Her teeth are very different. We'll talk about that in a few moments. And she's got thin eyebrows with quite a space in between her eyebrows. Her eyebrows are further from her eyes, and they are arched more. The chin structure is very different. We'll go through this whatever you call it. This website has a lot of details. There you have so the second one, I guess she would be at age 75. That's just a close-up of the eyebrows. That's not terribly interesting. These are all on my website, on my blog rather. The nose is quite different. The original Sister Lucy had let's see. No, this is not a picture of the noses. This is a picture of the dimples, or whatever the word is. That the way her cheeks form, little, appear like two small round apples is what it's described as. This isn't all that compelling. Here you have close-ups of her mouth, the two Lucy's mouths, the chins, this protuberant muscle in the center of the chin, which the original Lucy seems to have had, versus actually a stronger, more lantern chin from the second Lucy. And the original Lucy had a slightly upturned nose, a little bit of I forgot what that's called. I don't think it's called a pug nose. And the later Lucy has a nose that tilts down. There you see the angles of the two noses. There you see the difference in the chins. That Lucy 1, her chin recedes sharply into her neck, and Lucy 2 has a much better defined chin, even though she's got I don't know what you call that. I forgot what you call that, but a drooping neck there because of her age. The smiles look very different. Lucy 1, when she smiles, you see that the corners of her mouth tilt up or curve up, and Lucy 2, when she smiles, her mouth curves down. Eyebrows we talked about. There you have the mouth smiling, different. The chins. Okay, now I'm going to go. Now what I'm doing now, I actually don't see the chat stream, so maybe I'll take a quick look at the chat stream. There's a lot of discussion about the teeth. I'm going to skip that for now, because there's, anyway, it gets a little more complicated because of the possibility of dentures, but I'm just going to skip that for now. That's in a comparison of the expressions. I'm not going to, I mean, you can look at this. The space above the lip they're measurements actually that I have on another slide that I'll show, but that the space between the lip and the nose is quite a bit greater on the original Lucy than on the second Lucy. And I think I'm just going to be done with this particular website here. This is Tradition in Action. I'm not promoting Tradition in Action. It is a little bit hard, right? Let me see what the chat stream now says. Wow. I can't keep up with this. Yeah, they're too, I mean, like the color of your shirt. Yeah, it's hard to, okay, let's see what this is. Okay, color shirt. Yeah, okay, so this is really pretty obvious. Okay, I'm just looking at the chats. I will get to why this is done, but I want to nail this home since I have all this stuff. So I'm going to go back to the stuff that I have just in case anyone is not convinced yet. Okay, this is another website, Sister Lucy Truth, like 9/11 Truth. And this has, what they did was they hired a lot of experts and they have the expert reports. I'm not going to subject you to them. They have a facial analysis report from an expert that, you know, measures, you know, distance between nose and mouth and all of that stuff. Plastic surgeon report that discusses, you know, the different shapes of the noses and chins and so forth. An oral surgeon report. Handwriting analysis, because the handwriting of Sister Lucy 1 and Sister Lucy 2 couldn't be from the same person. A dental report. There you see a little just an image that juxtaposes the two sets of teeth, and so forth and so on. The links to all of these things are on my blog if you're interested. Now, this is just fun because it's just a whole lot of pictures. This is a PDF file called, as you can see, Sister Lucy Truth, Fraud in Fatima. This is up on my, a link to this is, either the entire document or a link to this is up on my blog. So, I like looking at pictures of Sister Lucia. So I'm just going to scroll through this, I guess. But there you have her as a child. A very characteristic face, right? Same face. Same face, same face, same face. Sister Lucia, pray for us, okay? There you see her as a young nun. You see everything, right? You see the nose that's upturned. You see the thick eyebrows. You see the heavy lower lip. You see that, I don't want to say funny chin, but kind of lumpy chin. There she is as a nun. There she is as a nun. Again, you see that very odd fleshiness on her chin and her lower lip. There you see her upturned nose. There you see her a little older. There you see her smiling with very large misshapen teeth. And of course the corners of her mouth going up and the apple cheeks. So this is obviously one person, right? There you see her again with the apple cheeks. And this is, of course, Lucy number 2. Lucy number 1, Lucy number 2, Lucy number 1, Lucy number 2, Lucy number 2, Lucy number 2. You see you don't see any of the apple cheekiness. The lips are thin, the teeth are small and not large. Do you see a problem? Okay, so here are some side-by-side comparisons. Side-by-side comparisons. Side-by-side comparisons. Side-by-side comparisons. See a problem? Okay, so then this just goes through all of the different types of evidence that they have assembled. Okay, so that's. I'm not trying to make you car sick here. I'm just skipping a whole lot of stuff. I'm not going to get too much into the church. I don't want to say church bashing, but the analysis of what's going on. I mean, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about why they did this, but I'm not going to go into the whole details about the various popes. Here's this plastic surgeon report that says it can't be the same person. There you have whatever pictures from the plastic surgeon's report. He goes into details about the eyelids and so forth that apparently, and there are the measurements of in between the pupils of the eyes and stuff like that, widths of the nose, mathematical measurements of the faces. I don't think anyone's unconvinced. Oh, interesting. I know what happened there. Well, okay, we can fix that. But I won't fix that for now. That's enough of that. Let me go on to this very interesting little datum. And then I'm going to have to go back to the... maybe I can look at both at the same time. Let me see if I can figure out a way to look at the chat stream while I'm also looking at this. Maybe I can't. Maybe I can't. Okay. Maybe I can if I do it like this. Okay. This is, as you can see, if you speak Latin, this is death notices of nuns from the Secretary General of the Carmelite nuns in Rome. Okay? And this is I don't know what you call it, but it's a list of dead Carmelite nuns from, I think, the list was published in 2005, okay? And you can see here, the various nuns, number 228, born in 1908, died, professed in 1932, died in 2000, and so forth. You go down to 265, get this. Mary Lucia of the Immaculate Heart, Coimbra, Portugal, born March 22nd, 1907 in Fatima. This is Lucia from Fatima. Professed 1928, deceased May 31st, 1949. Okay, so I don't know what to make of this. I mean, really. Certainly looks like she died in 1949. Okay, so let's race to the end. I'm thinking if I really want to race to the end. Okay, I'll put myself back up for a moment, I guess. This gets very complicated, or maybe I'll just do it like this. Okay, so let's get her. There you have her death notice, if that's really her. It certainly looks like her death notice. Excuse me, I have to cough again. deafen you. Okay. Okay. I think this is probably largely about the third secret. We know that the third secret that was officially pronounced as the third secret was the vision of the bishop in white, who supposedly was Pope John Paul II, being shot. What was his name? I forgot the name of the Turkish guy who shot him. But anyway, I keep thinking of Ali, but it wasn't Ali, and it wasn't Afga, but it was some double name like that. You undoubtedly know. Yeah, and so anyway, I do think it's about what's happened to the church since 1960 and what's happening to the church perhaps right now. And that is, so let's go back to Sister Lucy's account of the third secret originally, when she describes the Blessed Virgin Mary about to give the third secret. So I'm going to turn to that now. And, oh, I didn't do this. Well, it doesn't really matter much, but there, that's what I had meant to do. You know what, I'm better off in studio, not in studio mode for this actually. Okay. So I will go back to this page, and I will actually make it nice and big for you. Okay, here. In Sister Lucia's account of Mary giving the third secret, the very words which come just before the undisclosed third secret are, quote, "In Portugal, the dogma of faith will always be preserved," and then comes the third secret. Now, it certainly sounds like if that is what whoops, let me see if what's visible and what's visible. Not visible here for you. That doesn't do much good, does it? Sorry, there. Okay, so immediately preceding the third secret, which is not disclosed, the Blessed Virgin Mary says, "In Portugal, the dogma of faith will always be preserved." ... So it certainly seems logical that what she was saying was, but on the other hand, someplace else, the dogma of the faith will not always be preserved. And so most people who look at this think that the third secret was about the great apostasy. And there is evidence of this, more evidence of this, or rather more, I don't know how to put it, some evidence of this. Let me go back to that other page. I think that's right. The third secret deals with the church and clergy in the last days. So let me go back to here. Okay. Okay. Now, this Cardinal Chiappi. Oh, I see what this is. Or I shouldn't say. Anyway, this is not the best page for this. Let me see if I have I think I have another better document that talks about this. So let me just see if I have that. Yeah, okay, so here it is. Okay, so let me switch to that. Okay, so let me switch to this. Let me get this bigger so that you have a chance of reading it. Okay. Let's see how big I can get it. There. Starting to get a little blurry. There. Okay. Okay, so this is a better description. The very words which come just before the undisclosed third secret are, in Portugal, the dogma of faith will always be preserved, ... and then the third secret. Since these are the last words before the third secret, they imply that the third secret deals with the dogma of faith not being preserved. Second, people who have commented on the third secret, including high-ranking members of the Vatican II sect, in other words, of the Vatican, who purport to have read the third secret or to have acquired intimate knowledge of its contents, including Joseph Ratzinger, reveal that it has to do with the loss of the faith. Quote, in the third secret of Fatima, it is foretold, among other things, that the great apostasy in the church will begin at the top. So that would explain why maybe the popes did not want to reveal the third secret, as the Blessed Virgin Mary had asked them to do. And let me see how... Okay. Let me see if I can do this. The same document has a summary of... I'm not going to go through that. I've made the point. What that is it's a summary of things that Lucy II said that seemed to be incompatible with things that Lucy I earlier said. So that's it, really. Why did I do this? I don't know. Maybe you can tell me why I did this. But man, just imagine what the third secret might say. I just imagine if the third secret really talks about the great apostasy. Let me move this to the middle here, there, so I can look straight at it. If the third secret really talks about the great apostasy, and maybe even somebody who is assumed to be the Pope, who isn't really the Pope, who starts really not preserving the faith and contradicting the faith left, right, and center. So anyway, that's it.
Tota pulcra es Maria, tota pulcra es Maria, et macula
There's a book. It's written in Spanish by Jose Maria Zavala called The Best Kept Secret of Fatima. You see there a link to the book there. Obviously the blue at the bottom there. And what I have here, excuse me, is, how can I do this? I have the English translation of, okay, no, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So let me go back to this. This is not going to be very graceful because I don't have the tools I usually have at home. But anyway, okay, so now what you're looking at, if I have done this right, is what you're looking at is a handwritten letter. And it's a handwritten, or it's actually a photocopy of a handwritten letter. And we don't know where the photocopy came from. Makes it very suspicious. However, a forensic handwriting expert, whose job is to testify in court whether things are written by the same hand, by the same person, has examined it and testified that the same hand wrote it as wrote what we know to have been written by Sister Lucia in the early days. In other words, right after the apparitions and, in her early days in the convent and so forth, there are letters written by her and also actually accounts written by her. And this handwriting expert has testified that this is written in the same hand. In the book itself, there is documentation that attests to that. So anyway, so according to the handwriting expert, and according to the author of the book, this letter was written by the same Sister Lucia as saw the Blessed Virgin Mary. This letter is supposed to be the third secret of Fatima. I'm not saying believe this. Believe me, I'm not saying believe this. I'm just saying here it is. Make of it whatever you want. So here is the text, though, because I thought it was kind of curious, considering especially the days that we're living in. So let me see if I can clean this up a little bit. And this is going to be probably the last part of the show. Okay, so this is the text of that photocopy of the letter that the handwriting expert says was written by the early Sister Lucia, or the same Sister Lucia who wrote what we know was written by the real Sister Lucia. Anyway, here it goes. Now I will reveal the third fragment of the secret. This part is the apostasy in the church. Our Lady showed us a view of an individual I describe as the Holy Father in front of a crowd that was praising him. But there was a difference with a true Holy Father. But there was a difference with the true Holy Father, the devil's gaze. He had the evil gaze. Then after a few moments, we saw the same Pope entering a church, but this church was the church of hell. There's no way to describe the ugliness of this place. It looked like a fortress made of gray cement with broken angles and windows like eyes, and had a nozzle on the roof of the building. Then we look up to Our Lady, who told us, "You have seen the apostasy in the church. This letter can be opened by the Holy Father, but it must be announced after Pius XII and before 1960. In the reign of John Paul II, the cornerstone of Peter's tomb must be removed and transferred to Fatima." I'll continue. It gets pretty weird, so I'm not sure what to make of this. Because the dogma of the faith is not preserved in Rome, its authority will be removed and given to Fatima. This is really hard to believe. The cathedral in Rome must be destroyed and a new one built in Fatima. If 69 weeks after this order is announced, Rome continues her abomination, the city will be destroyed. Our Lady told us that this is written in Daniel 9:24-25 and Matthew 42-44. In opinion, this is now not obviously Sister Lucia's words. This is part of the book. An opinion presented by the handwriting expert before the courts, Dr. Begonia Slaughter de Archa, that the document referred to as the third secret of Fatima has been written by the same hand as the indubitated document corresponding to the first and second parts of the Secret of Fatima, written by Sister Lucia dos Santos in her third memoir of August 31st, 1941. Okay, that's a little bit of a teaser. I don't know what to make of it. I kind of found the first part a lot easier to buy than the second part, so to speak. But it's, I don't know what to say. We're all grown-ups here, You're not going to believe something. I hope you don't believe something because I say it anyway. I mean, just because I say it, But, the suggestion that there'll be somebody who is praised as the Pope and considered to be the Pope, but isn't the Pope and has the devil's gaze, that's an interesting little tidbit to chew on. So that's it. How can this, Moises, I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't even know why I'm doing this or showing this. How can we know it is a true letter? I don't know it's a true letter. And if I were to bet, I certainly wouldn't put the odds at higher than 50-50. I might put them at a lot lower than 50-50. But at the same time, I don't know. I just don't know. Revelation says Rome will be destroyed. When was the book published? I think I can look that up. I may be able to look that up. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, let me look it up here. It was written. It was written 100 years after the apparition, so it was written in 2017. There. And that's it, really. Interesting days we live in. There's interesting stuff. I'm gonna just throw this out because I don't care. I'm not going for, share of market or anything. Just on the drive up, actually, I said I had 2 days in the car, so I had downloaded some videos and stuff to watch when I wasn't driving, by the way, when I was a passenger in the car. And I downloaded a video by Patrick Coffin. Some of you may know Patrick Coffin. He's a Catholic apologist in the U.S. He used to have a daily show, I think, on Catholic Answers. And he has been written off, essentially, and fired, too, from Catholic Answers because he put together a pretty good little, it's under a half an hour long, video called 7 Facts That Give Evidence That Francis is Not the Pope. Something like that. Is Francis an anti-pope? 7 facts that give evidence that Francis is not the Pope. It was called something like that. And it's on his website, which is patrickcoffin.com. I think it's patrickcoffin.com. It's certainly patrickcoffin.something. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. He's not talking about conspiracy theories. He's not going out on a limb with very far-fetched stuff. He is citing canon law. He's citing documented facts, and it's interesting. So anyway, and that's actually the reason why I showed that last letter on the third secret, is because whether that letter's legit or not, I think it's quite likely, very likely, that the third secret talks about a great apostasy and a falling away from the faith of, you could say, the church, or you could say an anti-pope pretending to be pope who gives false teaching. But I do think that it's quite likely that the third secret revolves around that. Interesting, Shannon says, Our Lady told Father Stefano Gobi that Satan would enter the church and ascend to the summit. The summit, we know what the summit of the church is. So anyway, you guys, I'm just here as like a seed crystal. I'm just here to pull you guys together and have you talking to each other also. So anyway, I'm glad, you're all talking with each other and stuff. And I wish you had a way to talk with each other when I wasn't here, when I'm not here. Anyway, so that's it. I have to go to dinner. Okay. See, everyone knows more than I do. I knew that Patrick Coffin used to be a host on Catholic Answer shows, but he left a good number of years ago. I don't know how long that is. So there you go. Shows how little I know. And his 7 points about Francis not the Pope came out a few months ago. I'm behind the times. I just found out about it. Why hasn't the third secret been given to the world? Presumably, there are 2 ways to look at that. One is that that it could only be given to the world by the Vatican, essentially, one way or another, and the smoke of Satan entered the Vatican sufficiently so that the powers that are in the Vatican suppressed it and didn't allow it to be given to the world. I think that's actually true. No, I mean, whatever pope, it doesn't mean that a pope was making the call, but basically the hierarchy was making the call. Someone in the hierarchy high enough up to suppress it. And why did they suppress it? Well, maybe it was because one of the theories is people would get scared. If you said there's going to be World War III, people would get scared. Now, you'd think that the Blessed Virgin Mary knows what's best for people more than the Secretary of State of the Vatican, but probably the Secretary of State of the Vatican thought he knew better than the Blessed Virgin Mary. Anyway, that's one possibility. The other possibility is that it says, essentially, it talked about the corruption in the church, and particularly corruption in the Vatican, corruption in the hierarchy, corruption in the Curia. And of course, those people didn't want their game to be shown. They didn't want to be, kind of deposed. They didn't want, they wanted to keep up the scam. So anyway. Supposedly around 2000 was given to the world. That'll be my last final comment. I cannot, in good conscience, pretend that I think there's any believability to the fact that what was given to in the year 2000 was the third secret of Fatima. I allow for a lot of, different possibilities, but that was the third secret is as ridiculous as that the current occupant of that big house in Washington, D.C. actually got 100 million votes and got more votes than anyone in history, including, like 110% of the registered voters in various districts and so forth. You just cannot believe in good faith, is my opinion, that what was revealed in 2000 was the third secret. It doesn't follow on where the ... was. It does not jibe with the physical documents which were known about, even though they were in sealed envelopes. People knew how long they were, that people knew how many of them there were, and so forth. And it doesn't make any sense. Also, the explanation of it doesn't make any sense. But mostly the if you look at Sister Lucia's account, saying, the last things Blessed Virgin Mary said before the third secret, and you jump straight to what was revealed by the Vatican, there's no continuity. So there you go. Thank you. So nice to be back with you guys, even if you've got an ugly background and I look like like a zombie having emerged from the tomb. So anyway, goodbye all. Happy feast. Remember that we're in really good shape. I think we're actually in really good shape, whatever happens. But a lot of people are not in good shape. So let's take advantage of us being in good shape to help other people who aren't in good shape get in good shape. And if we do that, we'll be in even better shape for all eternity. So that's a good, final exhortation. So with that, I'll go to that song.